All that glitters is not gold, and that is especially true of the ETF GLD, which does a good job of tracking the price of gold most of the time, but if push comes to shove and you actually needed gold, you don't have any claim to physical gold, no avenue to get your hands on the physical gold itself. Despite this, investors continue to pour more and more money into the ETF, and in fact, on Friday, GLD reported its largest inflow since inception, which was back in 2004, an inflow worth $1.63 billion. You getting excited yet? Let's dive in. Take a look with me at this chart from Bloomberg, which shows it's just a visual of the number of dollars that have flowed in or out of the fund since inception. And you can see that on Friday, that was the largest inflow into this fund. And there are only a couple of days since its inception where it's even been close. Now, I've talked about GLD before, but I haven't talked about it in a very long time. So it's possible many of you have not heard my opinions on it. I do not like the fund. If it's your only choice to get any price exposure at all to gold, it's better than nothing. But there are far better alternatives out there for pretty much any situation that anybody is in. In terms of best to worst, your best option is always going to be to hold the physical yourself. That way you eliminate any counterparty risk. You're not relying on trusting somebody else to give you the gold when you ask for it. In addition to that, unless you're a professional collector, you don't want to get the collector's coins. They're almost always a scam. You're paying way more for them than you are when you just get the physical coins that are minted by governments like the American Eagles. That way you're getting pure gold instead of that gold mixed with a lot of other metals, selling for more than the price of just the gold. If you have to store it or you want to store it for some reason, you always want to go with a private vault that is in a country with a high degree of economic freedom, with a country that has no history of seizing its citizens' gold. You want that storage to be allocated and segregated. You want the vault to be independently audited. You want the company to be insured. And if all those boxes are checked off, then that's about as safe as you can get for a storage service for your metal. And if that's not an option for you, let's say you've got your money in an IRA, something like that, go with a self-directed IRA. There are companies that will hold gold on your behalf inside of your retirement account. And if even that's not an option for you, there are even better ETF options than GLD out there. I'm not going to recommend any names here because quite frankly, I don't care and I don't use them myself, but there are some ETFs that are physically backed, offer physical delivery as an option depending on the size or the number of shares that you hold. And so there are even better ETF options out there than GLD. Now, what is my big problem with GLD? Well, because of the way that they've written their prospectus, they basically have the option when push comes to shove to not own the amount of gold that they say they do. They sometimes rely on futures in order to get the same price appreciation or depreciation in their fund, in their shares, as the price of gold is showing. And in a market, in a time when people are having trouble locating the physical and getting delivery, futures or paper markets, quite honestly, could very quickly divert and diverge from the gold price, and you could see drastic differences between the paper price of gold and the physical price of gold. So whatever investment option vehicle you choose to hold your physical metal, you want to make sure that there's physical metal backing it up. And with the number of counterparties GLD has, simply because of its size, it's so big, it has to rely on multiple counterparties that sometimes have sub-custodians to hold the gold. There's so much counterparty risk in there that if there's a draining of the vaults, if there's a short squeeze, if the paper markets break and diverge significantly from the physical price, it's very possible that you see the price of GLD not be able to keep up with the physical price of gold simply because they don't have all access to all the gold that they said they did or that they thought they did. So given the fact that all of this information is very readily available for pretty much anybody who spends about 30 seconds doing a Google search, who is it that is buying GLD? Well, number one, it could be funds. You've got hedge funds like Bridgewater that use GLD. They've got a lot of money, a lot of capital. They use funds like GLD because it's simply the easiest and most efficient way for them to get allocation to the price performance of gold. And simply because it's the largest fund out there, you also have a lot of investors who just say, hey, if it's good enough for the big boys, it's good enough for me. And so they are investing in this as well. And it has ended up with this fund realizing the largest net net inflows in one day since inception. And so this, quite honestly, especially in light of the price of gold not moving drastically as a result of this, could be a very bullish sign for gold going forward. Massive inflows without the price moving means that the fundamentals, the base is getting set, especially in light of what the Federal Reserve may come out and say this week, as we have very fragile markets on one side and ramping inflation on the other side. The Fed is between a rock and a hard place, and it looks like the price of gold has blue skies ahead. And so it is a matter of time before we see what they come out with and say and what the price of gold does in response. But the fact is that right now, people, investors, money is accumulating gold right now. And if you would like to do the same, I've got affiliate links with all of my recommended resources for buying gold and all the various ways that you can do that in the description below. And not one of them is the ETF GLD. As always, really appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.